Welcome back to On Writing Books. Once again, I'm Jonathan Claiborne, writing fiction under J.J. Claiborne. This is the third installment of our series. This week, we're going to be doing a software review of one of my favorite applications. It will apply to both nonfiction and fiction writers equally. Everybody can get use out of it. Full disclaimer, I'm not being paid or anything like that to endorse this software. This is my personal opinion. I love this program. I think everybody could benefit from it. So the software that we're talking about today is called Wikidpad. If you're listening to the podcast and you want to know how to spell that, it's Wikidpad. And this is a free software that you can download from SourceForge. So if you Google that word Wikidpad, it will take you to the download page. Why Wikidpad? What is Wikidpad? In short, Wikidpad is a small, very small, private wiki that you can use personally to run whatever you want and to save whatever information you want and to organize whatever information you want. Now, if you've ever been to Wikipedia or anything like that, that's a wiki. There's all kinds of fan-based wikis out there, but sometimes, although there are wiki websites where you can get a free wiki host, that's not always beneficial as a writer, because if I'm trying to organize stuff that hasn't come out yet, I don't want that to be public knowledge until the book is released. So if I'm using it to developmentally document what's going to occur in my series as a fiction writer, I don't want to put spoilers out on the internet. So I need something that's private, that runs locally off of my computer, and that's exactly what Wikidpad does. It's small enough I can install the entire program on a thumb drive, on a USB drive, and put it in the computer and run it entirely from that USB drive, and it stores all the information there. It's kilobytes of size. It's not very big at all. So how much does Wikidpad cost? Nothing. It's free. It's freeware. So it costs you $0. You go to sourceforge.com, you can download it. It comes with options for a download for Windows. There's a download for Mac. There's a download for Linux. So no matter what kind of operating system you're using, Wikidpad will be available for it. There is also a Wikidpad clone that I've seen on the Google Play Store for Android phones. I don't know if it's for iPhones, but they have a mobile option now that people are making. I'm not sure if it's the same people, but it's the same software, the same kind of software. It works the same way. So download that, run the installer. The installer will set it up to run on whatever partition or folder or place that you want to put it. I choose to put mine on a thumb drive because then I can plug it into any computer and run Wikidpad from the thumb drive. I don't have to install anything. All of the program files are right there on the thumb drive, and I can just pop it open and continue working. Now, some of you might be saying, well, this is good in concept, but I don't really know technical stuff. I'm not tech savvy, so I'm scared of using this. If you've ever written notes in Notepad on the computer, you can use Wikidpad. It's not that much more complicated. There's a handful of different commands that you'll need in order to utilize the program, and then there's maybe like 4 or 5 more to actually make it really, really useful to you. So one of the first most important things to know is, how do you make a page? Well, there are 2 options to make a page. One option is to enclose the word or the page that you want in square brackets. The other is to use what's called camel case, where you have a capital letter and a lowercase, one or more lowercase letters, and then another capital letter. And that will automatically make that into a page. The problem is, sometimes you might not want a page. For example, if I was writing in Wikidpad and I put Dr. McCoy, well, McCoy would be a camel case word because it's capital M, lowercase c, capital M again. And so if I don't want it to turn it into a page, to make a link to that page, I can put a backslash in front of that camel case word and it will not make it a page. So for nonfiction books, if I was writing about the aircraft company McDonnell Douglas that eventually became Boeing, I might not want McDonnell to become a page, but I can put that slash in front of it and it will just keep it the word McDonnell. So that's the first way that you can use it to make pages. That's helpful because you can cross-reference everything. A couple other features that are helpful to know is formatting the text on the page. To make titles, subtitles, sub-subtitles, category titles, you just precede the word with a plus sign. Some of them are 2 plus signs, some of them are 3 plus signs, but putting multiple plus signs in front of the word will change the size of the word on the screen so that you can break it down by category. I think, I'm not looking at it right in front of me, but I think 1 plus sign is the biggest and then 3 plus signs is the smallest, but I could have that backwards. To make words in italics, you would just put an underscore on either side of the word or phrase that you're trying to make in italics, and then it will appear in italics. And to make things in bold, you can put a asterisk on either side of the word or the phrase or the sentence or what have you, and that will make it in asterisk. So you can cross-link between pages by using those things, and then you can format the stuff on the page. And on the top of the page, when you're looking at the navigation bar, it's like a little piece of paper that's cut in half diagonally, and it's got like lines on one half and a white piece of paper on the other. If you click that button, it will change it from a text-only view into a dynamic HTML view, because one of the other benefits is that Wikidpad can export the entire wiki as an HTML file. So what that means for non-technical people is, if I have a website, an author website or a book website or something, and I want to export what I've already written in my personal encyclopedia, I can simply hit the export to HTML button and it will create web pages that I can turn around and upload to my website. And by looking at that button, I can preview how it will appear in the general text. For people who are a lot more tech savvy, there's the ability to use cascading scripts, CSS files, to change the appearance of everything. There are also additional features. I can make bulleted lists inside of Wikidpad, and to do that, I would simply use 1 asterisk in front of the word, and then hit the space and then put the other one underneath it. As soon as I start putting the single asterisk, it will make a bulleted list. I can import images, which is a little more complicated because you have to use a URL. You have to take the URL and put it in there. But I can get the URL from the web, or I can take the file and put it on the thumb drive and then just create the link to the file's location on the thumb drive in relation to where the wiki is installed. So I can use images that are stored locally, or I can use images that are stored on the internet. But in either case, I would just put, image, colon, and then whatever the URL is in order to make that picture appear. And then there are also different reports that I can run in the software. I can run an orphan report, and it will show me any pages that exist that are not linked to any other pages. So if I have a page that's just hanging out by itself and it doesn't link to anything and nothing links to that page is called an orphan. And so I can use that to kind of help make sure that my software isn't broken, or my work that I'm doing is all still connected. And then another benefit too is on the side, I can see how everything pans out visually, because it shows me in a tree form on the left-hand side of the screen exactly which pages are connected to what pages. There is a little bit of a quirk to the software though. For example, in my Star Song wiki, I have the character Demarion Tierney, and on his profile, it talks about the planet Avanon. On the planet Avanon page, it talks about Demarion Tierney. So the Demarion will link to Avanon, which will link to Demarion, which will link to Avanon, and it will, in the tree version, create this infinite loop of pages that go to pages that go to pages to infinity. It's not broken. It's working like it's supposed to. It's just a quirk. So if you see that on your screen as you're using it, don't freak out. That's normal for the program. The program does also autosave, so you don't have to worry about trying to remember to save everything. It saves periodically, and anytime you close the application, it automatically makes a backup and saves itself as well. So those are some really good ways of doing it. As some examples of how I usually use this, if I'm writing nonfiction, I will use this and I'll create like the main category pages of what I'm going to do, and I'll just start typing the draft of the book right into the wiki, and then I'll use the links to the pages to go to like the next chapter or the next section or the next subsection. And for fiction works, I basically create my own personal encyclopedia of everything that's ever happened, and I link everything to it. But I also include more than that. So on my science fiction series, the Starsong Chronicles, I have a whole page of just notes, whether it's notes on calculations or technical notes on a particular ship like the Exodus arc. There's every note that I could ever want is in that document. The benefit of that is, as I'm writing multiple books throughout the series, I have a constant place where I can go and look up information consistently and easily to make sure that that information stays the same from book to book. So I'm never going to have a situation where the ship is one size in one book and a different size in another book. And I try not to get into that level of granular detail too much anyway. I've got 5 pages of technical notes, but only a couple paragraphs in the book of how much it is. But I have more than enough information for what I need. And so the character timelines are there. The information about the planets and the cultures and the societies and the people and every single aspect can be cross-referenced and cross-linked so that I'm never lost or confused about what I'm writing or who's doing what. And because I have such a large universe, if I ever wanted to share this and have other people come in and write books as well, I have a document that they could reference to make sure that what they're writing is in sync with what I'm already doing. And if I ever decided to try to pursue this as like a film or a TV series or a computer game or something along those lines, there's a working document that has everything spelled out into it. So I'm a huge fan of Wikidpad. I think the Wikidpad software and stuff like that is extremely beneficial for authors because it gives you an option to document and organize your thoughts, control things in a way that you're not going to lose track, and you're going to keep everything clear and consistent. So that about wraps up this week's episode. Next week, I'm going to spend some time specifically talking about nonfiction stuff. So fiction writers can probably skip that episode. But we're going to dive into a whole, just thinking about nonfiction books in particular and how to set up and approach those depending on what kind of book you're writing. But if you have any questions, of course, leave comments below. If you're listening to the podcast, you can reach out to me through email at jjclayborneauthor@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook at jjclayborneauthor. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.